back, yogis. Hi, I'm Angie with Harmony Yoga, and we're going to be working on an abdominal massage. And an abdominal massage, hard to say, is actually, we're just going to get right into the lower abdominal cavity. So from about the space where the ribs meet down in this area where digestion takes place. And why abdominal massage is really good for you is it has the ability, depending on which way you go. So clockwise is enhancing digestion and increasing motility and moving waste through the body. If you're a person that tend to have more of a rapid digestion, or maybe you have a problem with loose stools, then going counterclockwise can actually slow things down just a bit to manage. So it has some really interesting effects in the body. And what we'll be working with today is a couple of soft balls. And these aren't anything special, although they do have something called a miracle ball that's sold exclusively, I believe, at Costco. But if you don't have access to Costco, or for any reason you just want to go ahead and start this right away, these are balls I just actually bought at your local dollar store. And they're just children's balls, $1 a piece. You can squish the heck out of them, and then when they're done being squished, these have actually lasted an extraordinarily long time. Then you can just recycle them and then get a new ball. But I've not had to recycle them yet. So we're going to be working with these balls today. Another thing I want you to think about as you're working with your abdominal massage is if you are a person who has a propensity to have any abdominal issues, this is a good thing for you. But if you are a person that has anything like colitis, Crohn's, or any serious digestive diseases or illnesses, then it's probably something you should check with your doctor first. Listen to your body, and then as you move into any part of any yoga practice, always check in. So as you're moving through something, kind of check in. How is this reflecting on my body? How does this feel? If it doesn't feel good for you, then just don't do it. The most important thing in any yoga practice is to always listen to your body. And if something doesn't feel right for any reason, just don't do it. The other thing we're going to be working with is a yoga wheel. And these are amazing tools. They're not just for coming into a back bend, although they're amazing if you want to. Every time I come into this, on my spine, I get an articulation which feels amazing. But they're not just used for back bends. They're used for a myriad of other things, and there's many things you can do with these. And these are just one of the really cool things you can do. So I'll be working with the wheel and the balls for abdominal massage. And the reason I'm doing both is when you have anything in any part of your body that might be talking to you, it doesn't mean it's isolated into that area. So think about what's front is back and what's back is front. So if you have some cramping or some intestinal issues going on, it can pinch nerves and resonate into the back, the side body, and all the way down the legs. It can even get into pinching off the sciatic nerve and create some awareness or pain or discomfort there. So when you work into your body, just because you have one area that's talking to you, it might mean it's coming from another area. So we're going to address those two different spaces today and hopefully come up with a really strong digestion. And if you have any issues in the lower belly, it's going to really help that feel good. So to start our practice, we're actually just going to come onto the belly, and we're going to go ahead and move right into the massage. So before we get there, I'm going to move through a few cat and cow. Now, what I really like about cat and cow is it's moving both the abdominal and the spine. Abdominal, spine work together, and this is going to be a common theme as we move through this practice today. So as you come into, let's go ahead and come to table position. Wrists directly underneath the shoulders, knees about hip distance apart, directly underneath the hips. We're just going to come into some cat and cow. As you breathe into the lower abdominals, begin to send the spine all the way through the body, hollowing out the belly, gazing down between the hands, allowing the crown to release. You'll feel maybe a really strong abdominal as the abdominals begin to move together. We're going to pause here and just observe that space in the body. So just bring some awareness into that space. And then with the next inhale, we're going to draw the chest through the gate of the shoulders, allowing the belly to release toward the earth, the head and neck move with the spine. We're going to pause here. And then just notice the differences between those two different spaces in the body. Again, we breathe into the lower abdominals, allowing the spine to round, hollowing out the belly. And then we're just going to flow through those two different spaces and just find some fluidity, some movement. And as you move through any part of your yoga practice, always allow your breath to guide your movement. So not holding the breath, but really synchronizing the breath and body movement. We're going to do this for a few more rounds. And you can move through this at any speed. So this is just about where I feel today, but you might be a little faster, a little slower. We're going to come back into neutral spine. We're going to come into some C curves. So C curves is basically just bringing the back end and the front end together, coming into a C curve. So imagine you're curving your body around a ball. We'll come back to center, curving to the other side. Let's do this a few times. And you can do this with the lower body stable and then just moving through the upper body, or you can bring the upper and the lower body into this. So I want you just to kind of find that ebb and flow of your body, whatever feels good. For me, it looks like I'm just kind of moving through the upper body. Come back to center, and then we're just going to move through a few hip glides. I want you to tuck your toes, and we're just going to glide forward and backward. So we're preparing our body for just a little bit more movement, and we want to be able to connect with that energy. A couple more times here. And then the next time you come forward, we're just going to go ahead and come onto the belly all the way down. We're going to go ahead and grab that small ball. And I have a couple balls here. One's a little bit bigger and it's bumpier, but if you just have a ball about, it's probably a 4-inch ball or so, that's about the right size. You don't want to use a baseball, a softball, a tennis ball, or a golf ball. That's definitely too intense for this practice, but you may find you like it. Softball is what I would recommend. So we're actually just going to start with the ball right where the ribs meet, right in the solar plexus. And this can be a very releasing space in the body. If you hold on to anything, if you're feeling anxious or you have anxiety, this can help release that. And if you've had a full belly, pause this, let your belly kind of empty out a little bit and then come back to this. So this on a full belly, not a good idea. So having some nutrition in your body, but not having a full belly. And also, if you have to go to the bathroom, pause this and go to the bathroom, because this kind of moves everything through. So we'll put that ball right where the ribs meet. I'm just going to take a moment here. Go ahead and cross your arms and then let your feet relax. And we're just going to see how that feels. You feel that pressure. And again, as with this practice, you go to the level of intensity that you need. So if maybe being on the ball for just even only a few seconds is where you are, then that's okay. So again, I want you to come into the place that feels right for you. If the ball feels too intense, you can take that out and maybe find a little squishier or softer ball, or maybe your time here is just only going to be a few, maybe not even a minute. So again, this is just new exposure to your body. And then once you're there and you feel like, this is pretty okay, I can hang out here, I can even maybe go a little bit deeper, you can go ahead and begin to rest your forehead under stacked arms. And we're just going to hang out here for a few breaths. Just feel that pressure where the ribs meet. And again, if for any reason that just doesn't feel right to you, then you can omit this practice. So take this in increments. If one part doesn't work, kick it out and come into the next part. Now you can stay here for as long as you need to, but just to keep this kind of in time conscious frame, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next part. So again, you can stay in this practice for as long as you need to. We're going to go ahead and begin to move into the abdominal release. So basically, you're just rolling the ball either clockwise for enhanced digestion, moving things through, processing, or counterclockwise if you want to slow things down just a bit. So I'm going to go clockwise. And you're basically just rolling yourself around on the ball or just moving the ball with your belly. So kind of get in there and you're kind of edging, walking, moving. Now this can also be done on the back. You could actually lie on your back, and I'll show that in just a moment. I'm going to go through this part of it first, and then for those that want a little less pressure on there, you can certainly do this on the back. Take that down where you need to, and if you begin to release gas, then that's probably a productive thing. I'm not going to be doing this on that video because I don't think that would. So just kind of letting that work its way through. You caught me in a bad time. I think I've got a weird sense of humor and I don't always show that on videos. If you find an area that's you didn't know was there, you can pause there and just apply direct pressure until that kind of releases a little bit. As you apply that direct pressure, you might begin to notice how it radiates from the front to the back. And if you have any lower back issues, you'll see how those are connected. So Maybe, maybe not. Just again, giving time for observing. Even take it into the bladder. Again, I would recommend emptying the bladder before you do this, and just kind of letting things loosen up as it needs to. Coming back to the left side, making sure not to forget about that side. You also may hear a little gurgling, groaning. It's just helping your body to move those things through. So just got a few more breaths here, just kind of so you get the general idea. And again, as you come into your own home practice, you can stay with this as long as you need to. And then we're going to go ahead and move that ball to the side. And we're just going to come back into table position, coming into a few more rounds of cat and cow, drawing through the lower abdominals. And then as you're coming through, just take a moment here and just observe how that lower part of your body is beginning to feel. We're going to move through one more, and then we'll take that next one all the way back into child's pose, bringing the big toes together. The knees can be close together, wide apart, or somewhere in the middle. We'll just begin to walk ourselves forward. Now I'm showing an active child's pose, but if you want to begin to bring your arms into any other position, you have the option to bring your hands behind the neck for prayer. You can grab onto opposite elbows and stack the forehead on your forearms. You can also surrender your arms to your side bodies, coming into a surrendering child's pose. So any one of those arm placements that feels good to you. And hang out here for just a couple more rounds of breath. Go ahead and walk your hands back towards your body. And we're going to go ahead and come into the massage, and I'll show you the other way you can do this too. If the other way was just a little bit too intense. So coming down with integrity, arms come out in front, palms face each other, and then just lower down with the breath all the way down. Make sure you have your ball. Go ahead and release the legs, and then just go ahead and place the ball, starting first in the solar plexus where the ribs meet, applying as much pressure as you need to. Now with this way of doing this, you have a little bit more flexibility as far as how much pressure you choose to put on that area. So if this is your first time doing this, this might be a better alternative for coming into this practice. And then just begin to roll either clockwise or counterclockwise. Moving into the small intestine, the large intestine, the colon. Coming into the bladder, and just lightly rocking over the bladder. And then you can stay with this practice as long as you need to. So whenever your body says, I'm done, you can certainly be done. We're going to go ahead and set that ball to the side. And I may get to this. I didn't call it, but we may get to that. So we're going to bend the knees and place the feet about hip distance apart. And we're going to come into a few rounds of Setu Bandha Bridge pose. So we're going to start here. I want you to put your hands on your abdominals, and then one hand on the abdominals, and then one hand in the natural curve of the spine, the lumbar spine. And then I want you to inhale, and as you exhale, press the flat of the back toward your hands. So you'll find that there's no space in between the lumbar spine and your mat. Inhale draws away, exhale flat. And then you can remove your hand now and just follow that ebb and flow. So it's a forward and backward tipping motion of the pelvis. So we're isolating that motion right into the pelvic region. Again, bringing that focus and energy into the pelvic region. Just do this a couple of rounds. Now the next time the flat of the back draws towards your mat, we're going to pause here. Release your arms along your side bodies. Let the shoulders roll back and down. And then begin to bend your elbows. Let your palms face each other. Press the elbows into your mat and raise your chest. Go ahead and release your arms back down. And then go ahead and release the flat of the back. Do this a couple more times. And then the next time the flat of the back draws toward your mat, begin to press your feet into the mat. Draw the knees away from the body and allow the hips to rise. So coming into Setu Bandha Bridge pose, the chin is naturally drawing toward the chest. And we're just coming up into our first bridge, so it doesn't have to be your biggest back bend. We're just
beginning to find that awareness, core and abdominals and spine. So seeing that, allowing them to work together, and breathe. And then we're going to roll down mindfully one vertebra at a time, all the way down. Come back into that pelvic rocking. Next time the flat of the back draws toward the mat, pause here, draw the knees away from the body, allow the hips to rise. Now as we come into our second hold, if you want more, you can begin to walk one shoulder and then the other underneath the body. You can interlace the palms, draw your arms away from the body, press your feet into the mat, keep drawing the knees away from the body, and then it's a heart opening. So we're drawing the chest closer toward the chin. So we're not putting any undue pressure in the low back. It's an opening through the upper body. And breathe. Go ahead and one shoulder and then the other all the way out. Roll down on the vertebra, one vertebra at a time. Come all the way back. Forward and backward pelvic rocking. And then go ahead and release. Draw the knees into the body. You can go ahead and rock forward and back. And rock from side to side. So just finding a little bit of movement. And whichever movement takes you back upright, either to the side or rolling all the way up, go ahead and come back into upright position. We're going to go ahead and use the wheel now. Now, if you don't have a wheel, this is something that maybe at some point in your practice you could add to this. This is sold on Amazon, the pitch for Amazon, and they run anywhere from about $20 all the way up. So they're not super expensive, and this is a nice thing to add if you're looking to add things to your practice. So the way to come into this is you'll place the wheel right behind your body. Now you want to have some stability here, so you don't want this to get away from you. If this is your first time doing it and you have anything going on in your spine, if you have a compressed spine or any type of spinal surgery, then check with your doctor before you come into any type of a back bend, because safety first. And then once you have that, you can start here, have your thumbs hooked into the wheel so that it doesn't roll away from you. And we're rolling the shoulders back and down, the heart space open. So this could be your first space that you're coming into. Gazing down, boy, that really got some stuff moving. My tummy's growling now. And breathe, heart space opens. Now this might be a really nice space for you. If you want to add more, you begin to press your feet into the earth and then just begin to walk yourself around. Now you can come into any depth of this as you need to. The first time I did this, and that was just before I started filming, I got a nice spinal opening, so a lot of articulation in my spine. I'm just going to hang out here. If you have your balance, you can bring your hands to the heart space. You can bring your hands overhead. So again, find your balance first. If this is your first time playing with this, keep your hands rooted so you don't want to wibble wobble over. And once you're here, once you have your balance, you can always play with extending a leg or two up. So there's a lot of things you can do here. This is, for this particular practice, this is what we're going to show with today. And then when you've had enough here, you can begin to mindfully roll yourself back to center. Go ahead and grab those thumbs and tuck it right in there. Let the shoulders roll back and down and let your heart space open. And then we'll mindfully begin to come off. So these are just some of the fun things that you can do with props, things that will enhance your body, things that you can find even in your local dollar store that you had no idea, other than just playing with your kids, that could actually add a lot of ease and comfort in your body. So abdominal massage, I love it. Give it a try. Maybe you will too. I'm Angie with Harmony Yoga. From my heart to yours, yogis. Namaste.